you for inviting me to talk on selfless love. That means I am going to talk about love in simple language to tell you how to make love, why it is necessary. We have noticed your way of making love is wrong because lot of jealousy, anger, violence, bloodshed you create because of your love. That's why I told you your method is wrong. The Buddha had practiced before his enlightenment as a young prince, as a worldly man. He practiced selfish love, selfless love, and he practiced love as a husband, he practiced love as a father, and he practiced love as a good friend, he practiced love as a religious man in various ways. There is vast difference between selfish love and selfless love. Selfish love always will end with unsatisfactoriness, with unhappiness or frustrations, if not enmity. Now let us take husband and wife. They love each other. In their love, definitely there is selfishness. That is why they fight, they quarrel, they argue, they become enemies, and they attack each other, and they kill each other. That is why I told you it is a selfish love. But that is the nature of love that living beings practice in their day-to-day life, in worldly life. Children and parents develop this love and attachment, and that is also selfish love. Children expect something from their parents. At the same time, parents also expect something from their children. Otherwise, they don't love. But in that respect, animals are more advanced than human beings. You can see cats and dogs and birds, how they love their young one, how they look after, how they feed them, how they protect them, how they fight to protect them because of their love towards their young ones. But when their children, young ones, grow up, they chase them away. They allow them to go their own way. They train them everything. How to eat, how to walk, or how to fly. In fact, birds train them how to make a net also. There are many birds. Those birds never lay eggs in the same old nest twice. Second time they make another nest. The idea is to train their young ones how to make a nest. After that, they are independent. They do not depend each other. But this is animal nature. They will be free from many problems that parents and children are facing in the human society, because they expect something in return. But animals do not expect anything in return, but they do their duty without neglecting to bring them up, to protect them, to train them. But human beings have an extraordinary characteristic which we cannot find amongst other living beings. That is, human emotion and humorous or jovial mentality that we cannot find in other living beings. We entertain our human emotion through our humorous attitude, the way of talking, the way of doing things, and this attitude can influence or arouse human emotion. That is very important for our human mentality. Otherwise, human beings can become very violent and aggressive. That emotion is changeable. We laugh because of our emotion. We cry because of our emotion. We show anger because of our emotion. We show our sympathy because of our emotion. It can be diverted either this way or that way, for good purpose and bad purpose. That is why I told you, as human beings, we must have some sort of entertainment to control or to support our human emotion. Love amongst the parents and children, husbands and wife, and brothers and sisters and brothers and brothers, sisters and sisters, and friends. So in their love, there is some sort of emotion. That emotion can be changed from time to time according to our mentality, our attitude, our motivation. That is how love can create trouble. The common sayings about love, some educated people say, love is blind, but not always. Because of love, people can forget everything. They can forget their parents, they can forget their responsibilities and obligations, they can forget many other things because of their love. That is why they say love is blind. Love can blindfold human beings to neglect, to forget other responsibilities. On the other hand, love is important, as I mentioned just now, for our human emotion. The Buddha had no human emotion. People cannot understand this. The Buddha never laughed and never cried because no emotion. But occasionally he shows his smiling face. When he shows his smiling face, and some of his disciples come and ask, well, there must be something. Today we saw your smiling face. Then he revealed, yes, I remember something. Say during one of my previous birth, then he narrated the story. On such occasion, he shows his smiling face to indicate that there is something in his mind. But that is not emotion. And we are very emotional. That emotion disturbs our nervous system. That is why we shiver. When you get angry, we shiver. That emotion influences and disturbs our nervous system. But Buddhism talk about metta, karuna, mudita, upekka. 4 kinds of sublime state. Sublime means highest. Up to the maximum level, we develop our love, our understanding. If not love, we develop with understanding, not blindly. Metta, that is called compassionate love. We add this word compassion. Love and compassion goes together. Then it is very deep, very understanding, very meaningful, very practical. What is this compassionate love? If not universal love or goodwill or loving kindness, there are many words. The most appropriate word is compassionate love. Just now I told you, the love can narrow our understanding. That is why we had to add understanding also into it. When we love, there must be understanding, proper understanding. Otherwise, that love can create trouble. When we love only towards certain people, we cannot extend our love beyond that. We love only our relatives, our friends. Cannot go beyond that. Or our neighbors. If not, our own race, but not towards others. If not, those who are only in our country. If not, those who are in Asia, but not towards others. If not, we extend our loving kindness or compassionate love towards every human being on this earth. Still it is limited. That is not the love that the Buddha taught us. We extend our loving kindness every living being on this earth, including insect. Still it is limited. We extend our loving kindness towards every living being in this globe, in this world, including the living beings in the water and in the air. Still it is limited. When you recite Ratana Metta Sutta, the Buddha mentioned, it is called boundless, no frontier. There is no limit. If we really want to extend our compassionate love, we have to radiate our loving kindness, all those visible and invisible living beings. There are so many invisible living beings in this world, not visible to our naked eyes. There are many living beings in other world systems. When you read Dhammacakka, or the first sermon of the Buddha, or Mahasamaya, another discourse of the Buddha, where he mentioned 10,000 world systems, 100,000 world systems, where there are living beings. Some of them are higher than human beings. We had to extend our loving kindness, we had to radiate our metta towards all those living beings in this universe. Then it will become metta. So we cannot limit. Again, we always forget our enemies. When we love all the other living beings, we forget our enemies. We cannot love them. The Buddha's advice is this. First, you must love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you cannot extend this love towards others. Because we hate ourselves. It is hatred. Whether towards somebody else or towards me, it makes no difference. I get angry with me. I get angry with you. Anger is anger. Anger is that mental pollution. So when you hate yourself, you pollute your own mind. Therefore you must have sympathy, understanding, love towards you. Then you become more healthy and more peaceful. At the same time, if you neglect your enemies, if you are reluctant to extend your love towards your enemy, there is no complete purity in your mind. You keep a dark corner in your mind because you don't want to extend your kindness or sympathy or love towards your enemy. But you do not know, by radiating your love and kindness towards your enemies, they slowly change their mentality. It is very effective. When you come to know there is somebody who is angry with you, who doesn't want to talk to you, doesn't want to see you, who hate you, what is the Buddha's advice? In Dhammapada, we can see these sayings. Susukhang vata jivama verinesu averino verinesu manussesu viharama averino. Let us live happily amongst those who hate us. Let us live happily without hating them who hate us. This is the Buddhist attitude. So what will happen when you stop your hatred? When you start to radiate your kindness towards your enemies who hate you, through the influence of your loving kindness, this mental vibration is very effective. The more you radiate your loving kindness from here towards your enemy, the enemy slowly change the mentality. I can tell you a living example for this. This is not only a belief. Many years ago, the president of the World Fellowship of Buddhists, Selangor Center, one Dr. Oei Keng Seng, he had 3 daughters. He was learning and practicing Buddhism very seriously at that time. So what happened? One day, one of his daughters, big daughters, stopped talking to her father. Whenever father asked something, she refused to answer. She walked out. He observed this for a few days. Then he thought, why not I practice this Buddhist technique taught by the Buddha, whether it is practical or not. So after that, what he did, he come back, goes to his room, lock, sit down, meditate and radiate love, loving kindness towards this daughter who doesn't want to talk to him. After 1 week, when he was inside his room, somebody came and knocked at the door. So when he opened the door, he saw his daughter, who doesn't want to talk to him. When, with smiling face, she asked, Father, what are you doing inside this room? Why do you close your door? He said, no, I meditate. Then I apologize for my misunderstanding. See how effective. Pacchatang veditabbo vinyohi. Nature of the Buddha's Dhamma, Buddha's teaching is this. He says, you yourself can practice and see the result. You practice and see. I have done this in my life on many occasions. Many people try to become my enemies. It has become a failure. They could not become my enemies because I do not hate them. Then they surrender. And this is the Buddhist attitude. Here, just now I am talking about selfless love. If there is little bit of selfishness in our mind when we develop our love, definitely one day or in the end there will be misunderstanding or disappointment or unhappiness or frustration. If not, departure or the death. This is very important. Father and mother develop their very strong love and attachment towards their children. Suddenly, some sort of unfortunate occurrence happened to one of their children, or suddenly died. They cannot tolerate. They cannot tolerate this because in their attachment, in their love, they had some sort of selfishness. And that selfishness creates the mental disturbances. One day, Lady Visakha, one of the chief lady disciples of the Buddha, when the Buddha visited her house, this lady was crying. The Buddha asked, "Why do you cry?" She said, "My granddaughter died. That is why I am crying." Then the Buddha asked, "Here in this city, do you know how many children die a day?" "Yes, I know so many die. But do you cry for them also?" "No, I don't cry." Why don't you cry?" "Because they are also human beings. This is also human being. Because I have no love and attachment toward them. That is why I don't cry." That is the cause. Because of your attachment you cry. If that attachment is no more, you never cry. Here, that is very important thing for us to learn. When father and mother develop their attachment toward their children, this understanding must be there always in their mind. What is that? One day there will be separation. Definitely there will be separation. Before their death also there will be separation. Some misunderstanding or very unfortunate incidents may take place suddenly. When such unfortunate things happen, we must have courage to face them. We have to strengthen our mind to face this. So with this understanding, you can develop your love and attachment. After that, you know how to control yourself. You don't go mad. You don't want to commit suicide, because earlier you have trained your mind that definitely this may happen one day. A doctor who was giving free medical treatment on every full moon day in Sri Lanka. That day he gave more patients. When he was working in the dispensary, somebody came and told him, "Your younger son died." Young boy. Doctor's pet. He loved him so much. Then, what did he say? "Well, if my son died, now I cannot do anything, because I am a doctor. But there are so many living people here in this dispensary. I will attend to them. After that I will come home." Here you can understand how far he has developed this understanding. Can another father do that? He did not neglect all the others just because his son died at home. So this is a very good lesson to all the others. To avoid unnecessary mental disturbances and worries and frustration, disappointment. So this is a very good lesson to all the others. To avoid unnecessary mental disturbances and worries and frustration, disappointment. That is why I tell you, if you develop your love without this understanding, then one day you have to face this problem. You can develop your love toward your husband and wife also. Buddhism never says that husband and wife should not love each other. The Buddha's advice is, if a man and woman can find out very understanding husband and wife, they are blessed people. It clearly shows the Buddha never goes against that love. But in that love, there is some bad effect, side effect. What is that? The love is very strong, then develop attachment, then influence the emotion. If anything happens, that human emotions aggravate the situation, disturb the mind, cannot maintain a normal human mind at that time. That is why some people commit suicide. We can develop this love with this understanding. Life is uncertain. Love also uncertain. Everything that which exists in this world is uncertain, impermanent. Therefore, this love that we are developing is not permanent. Definitely it is not permanent. One day there will be separation. When that separation takes place, earlier or after our death, we must have some sort of courage to face them, because it is natural. Then you know how to face them. Another thing, when husband and wife, parents and children develop their attachment or love wholeheartedly with some other virtues or good karma, they will be born again and again as husband and wife and parents and children, they get together. This love is just like magnetic power. That is why in certain families we can see very understanding husband and wife. They never fight, never hate each other, and never suspect each other. Because of that, a strong attachment they have developed even during their previous birth. In certain other families, although they have everything, no shortcoming at all, but they cannot agree each other. They cannot trust each other. Always is sour face, argument, misunderstanding, attacking each other, because They are newcomers. They do not know each other very well. That is the secret. Now let us take the Buddha. In his previous birth stories, he says, the same husband and same wife, life after life, until the Buddha gained his enlightenment, renounced the world, same husband and same wife, and same children, one son, one daughter. They had very good family planning. Only one son and one daughter. So many previous births. These two children also follow like shadow because of their attachment, inclination, love. Of course, love and attachment alone cannot do that. They must have enough good karma also to be born in the same level, same status. So others also can continue this. They must have very honest, very sincere love and attachment, at the same time some good karma also. Then, when we develop our selfless love without expecting anything in return, we do a lot of things for others, for the benefit of others, for the happiness of others, but never expect anything from them. It is selfless love. In our selfish love, there is no pure mind, because selfishness is there. When you do something without selfishness, without that idea in the mind becomes pure. Purity is more important. That love is more effective because no selfishness. Then the person becomes virtuous. One who develops this love without selfishness becomes very virtuous person. Mental energy becomes very dynamic force. Because no dirt in the mind. After gaining perfection as Arahants, or gaining enlightenment as the Buddha, they maintain such a dynamic mental energy to transmit, to radiate, to help others, to cure the sicknesses and relieve their sufferings and problems and difficulties through the radiations of this mind. So one day, a poor boy whose father died when he was very young, and mother also very young, had second husband. But this second husband was a very cruel man. Every day he beat and hate this poor child, because this is not his own child. So one day what he did, without mother's knowledge, he has taken this child to a graveyard. You know, in India, even today, they don't bury dead bodies, they burn. They carry and hand over dead body to the in charge of the cemetery, come back. He takes his own sweet time to burn them one by one. Sometimes keep 1 or 2 days also. He carried this child into the graveyard and tied this boy with a dead body. Together with dead body, in the evening. Now this poor child is alone in that cemetery where there are so many dead bodies. At night time, wild animals also come, fox, these jackals and tigers, to eat the flesh of dead bodies. So when this child was shivering there, the Buddha has extraordinary psychic power, vision, to see when somebody is in trouble. He saw this poor child in that cemetery. He was shivering like this. So what he did immediately, he focused, he radiated his psychic power just like floodlight, so that that child very far, not nearby, that child can see the Buddha through this light. And then this child saw the Buddha figure. Oh, he was so happy, start cheering. Stop. Then asked one of his disciples to go there and bring this child. And later he was ordained as a monk. This is the nature of this love when we develop with purity in our heart. We can extend this to release others' suffering. And many of those faith healers, they radiate their love toward the person who suffers. So it is called this mental therapy. By radiating and radiating and radiating, influence the mental energy to penetrate after that sickness disappears. It is practical. But with selfish love we cannot develop this. On the other hand, there will be some misunderstanding also. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka, these four stages in the same line. Metta is higher than all the other good qualities because there is no emotion. Karuna, sympathy, compassion, true human emotion. We say we pity on him. That is emotional. In that karuna, in that sympathy, in that compassion, there is emotion. That emotion can turn either this way or that way. Example, when somebody is in trouble, you develop this emotional sympathy and kindness, go there and give a helping hand to get rid of that problem. But later, you develop your attachment and your emotion and expect something from that person. At least to say thanks. Every time when you meet him, you want that person to say thanks. Thank you for everything that you have done for me. That is the nature of that. Many people complain. We have done so much for them or for that person. They never say even thank. Buddhism says, when you want to do some service to others, don't expect even that thank. If you can do without expecting that, then your mind will be free. You never complain. You never grumble. But you can enjoy by thinking the good deeds that you have done to release their suffering. Every time when you think of that, you gain happiness. That happiness is enough for you. Don't wait. Oh, thank you. Mudita is a very difficult thing to practice. Last night I practiced mudita in the University of Malaya. When you were having your performances in Chinese and some other languages, I could not understand anything. When others laugh, I also laugh. But I do not know why I laugh. That is called sympathetic feeling towards others, sympathetic joy. When others enjoy, you also must enjoy. Sympathy, understanding. But many people cannot do that. When others enjoy their life, many people develop their jealousy. They cannot see. They pass remarks. They disturb. Even amongst family members, brothers and sisters, that jealousy is there. So they cannot develop this sympathetic feeling towards others to share the happiness, to contribute your happiness toward them without interrupting, without disturbing, without passing remarks. This attitude is important to maintain harmonious attitude or environment in our society. The last one is equanimity. That is more difficult. We are divided into different categories, different groups. Our race or nationality, our tradition, our culture, our language, our religion, our color. These are the things that which mankind or whole humanity is divided into various groups. Then occasionally clashes, calamities, or jealousy, or war, or discrimination take place because of these differences. I told you at the beginning, we can extend our love towards only our own people, our own race. Chinese can extend their kindness towards only Chinese, but not to Indians or Europeans. Indians can extend their kindness towards Indians, but not to Chinese and others. And this is the nature. Again we have our religion. The followers of many religions extend their kindness and cooperation and understanding towards only their particular religious group, but not to others. They hate others. They discriminate others. Again you have your own traditions and culture. Chinese culture, Indian culture, and various other cultures. One group ridicule the traditions and cultures of the other group. By cherishing ridiculous method as our own tradition and our own culture, we ridicule the culture and traditions of another group. This is the nature of human mind. So, one day we had to get rid of all these discriminations, had to consider all are human beings. Again we have different colors. White people don't like dark people. They hate. Even in Africa, it's still going on. Children of dark and white cannot study in the same school because of their color. Color takes place in our skin to the influence of the sun to protect their skin. Therefore that color is important for that area, for their survival. Otherwise there is no superiority or inferiority complex in the color. Now you say dark color is not very good, you don't like dark color. But when your hair turns into white color, you like dark color. Why? That means dark also not bad. It is important. I remember in Uganda, there was a political leader called Kenyatta. He died a few years ago. He says, those Western missionaries who come to our country to introduce Christianity depicted the picture of God and devil in this way. God is white color and devil is dark color. If I get the power one day, I will draw the God is in dark color, devil in white color. This is the way how they ridicule the discriminations of color bar. So we had to get rid of all these problems if we want to maintain peace, harmony, happiness in the human society. So these four methods introduced by the Buddha, metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, where you cannot find selfishness, but sympathy, kindness, understanding, cooperation, harmony, without selfishness. While serving to relieve others' suffering, while maintaining peace and harmony in the society, we also cultivate, purify our way of life to experience complete satisfaction in our life, that we will be free from our disturbances. Today we are not happy, although we have everything, internal and external, physical and mental disturbances are there. But most of these disturbances are created by us, our own mind, because of our mental attitude. Always there is selfishness in our mind. Everything, whatever we do, to gain something for our own benefit, but not to contribute for the benefit of others. That selfishness is there. Then, because of this selfishness, then the jealousy, then enmity, then anger, then hatred, then violence and bloodshed. So when we control the mind at the beginning, without developing our selfishness, we can get rid of all the other evil forces also in our mind. This is the advantage of developing selfless love. Thank you. I love you.